Cleaning a Kentucky Rifle, William Hovey Smith, 2012. I'm mostly known as the author of Backyard Deer Hunting, and today I'd like to take you through the disassembly and cleaning of a Kentucky rifle once imported by Navy Arms Company. I'm Hovey Smith, and today we're going to clean a Flintlock Kentucky rifle. And it's this one right here. Now, some of you have seen this gun before, because last spring, I used it to take a turkey. This gun has been loaded all year, and I went out and shot it yesterday, so it has been freshly shot, and so now, of course, I need to undress it and clean it, and we're going to be about doing that. This is a .45 caliber gun. I use a load of 85 grains of powder with it, and a round ball. And this is my turkey and deer and squirrel gun, because I've taken every one of these critters with it. All right, so we're going to get started and get it undressed first. This is going to take a little while, so I'm going to leave you and then come back when we get a little further along. We now have the gun exposed, or necketed, to use a mountain term. And here we are. It's a typical flintlock, and we're going to take it apart. Now first, I want to show you some of the tools we're going to use, and I want to show you the details of the disassembly. So I'm going to move the camera up first so you can actually see what's going on. Well, now we're ready to disassemble the gun. And let me tell you about some of this stuff on the table. First off, this is the elastic piece of camouflage that we used to cover the gun. This was the excess tape that was holding it on. Tweezers, sometimes needed. A little tool with a knapping hammer on it for sharpening the flint. And this is for pulling the keys, the barrel keys that hold the barrel on some guns. This is a universal flintlock tool with all kinds of interesting accessories, including a little pan for the brush. This has a screw on it for pulling patches that are stuck down the bore. This is for pulling balls, some oil, some grease, some bore butter, a mallet. You'll see how this comes in. Then we have a longer ramrod with an extension on it and a .45 caliber jag. Screwdrivers, one to fit one screw, one to fit another. Some scissors, patch materials, and a coffee can full of soapy water. All right, so what do we do first? Well, the first thing you do with a flintlock mechanism is actually, or any such gun, is actually remove the lock, because it bears tightly against the barrel. So that has to come out first. You see the two screws here. So you just unscrew like yay. And yay. I can see the lock moving on the other side. It's just about to fall out. So, all right. Yeah, there's a lock right there. Okay. And we can just let these screws fall. All right. Now, about this lock. You notice something a little strange about it? Well, it's this piece of rubber right here. This is done to reinforce this spring. One thing about flintlock springs, or in leaf springs, is that they do weaken with age. So, okay, you can take this out first off. Then, you need to remove the jaw and the flint and the leather that's holding it. So we will do that right now. Okay, screw, top jaw, leather, flint. Okay, now what else do we do with this? It's not usually necessary to disassemble any further than I've shown here. Other than at the first time I have a gun, I may do that completely so I can polish up the lock parts a little bit. Otherwise, all this just goes in the water. Plump, just like that. All right, what next? The next thing I usually take out is this tang screw. So that comes out. And incidentally, you don't screw these things down within an inch of their lives. You just give them to finger tight. You don't really try to cinch them. Okay, there you go. Now what? Well, like most muzzle loaders that are traditional design, this is secured by two pins. One here and one here. So we have to take these pins out and have to be careful about how you do it. If you try to lift this barrel with a pin in it, you're very apt to split or break this very long, thin wooden stock, which you don't want to do, because this wooden stock is actually among the most valuable parts of the whole gun and one of the most difficult to replace. So, okay, take our little tools here. You have a punch. Start it down in the hole on one side. Seat it. Okay. Give a little wrap. All right, that went through. Okay, one pin. Then we do the same thing here on the muzzle end. It's a little strange holding it here, but I want to do it so you can actually see something of it. All right, that went. Okay, now what next? Well, you notice this piece of brass here. Well, it's actually best to take that off too at this stage. And it is a little firmly attached. There we go. There it comes. All right. Now, we have the end of the barrel exposed. Is it really free? With a gun that you've not handled before, you want to be very careful about applying pressure to this stock. Again, it's so thin and it's so delicate. So you just pull up gently. Yeah, that's good. Okay, the barrel's free. Then you pull it up a little bit and you pull forward. And then lift. All right. So now we've got the barrel free. Okay. You see this? This is a detachable vent hole. This needs to be removed every time and cleaned, otherwise it will rust solid to the barrel. And this screwdriver has been specially designed to fit. If I have to, I can apply some real pressure with this driver, but it's not necessary here. As you see, it came out very, very slick. What happens to it? Well, it goes in the water. Plunk! Okay, so we got the barrel clean of all its attachment parts. Now the sights, there's no reason to take those off. No, you leave the sights on. And the rest of it is just fine. About the stock. I've owned this gun for some years, and I've glass bedded the rear of the stock. And this gives it added strength and also added accuracy. So this is something you can do with any muzzle loader. It's not necessarily to glass it all the way down, but this breech area of the stock is significant. It also enabled me to fill some space on the inside here to make it more, well, to make it less likely to get filled up with black powder filing every time the gun fires. So this keeps a lot cleaner and shooting better. So that's what this is about. All right. We took a little break to recharge the camera. In the meantime, we took some alcohol and we cleaned up this piece and also the barrel to remove that sticky stuff that was on the tape. So we got rid of that. Now we're left with the lock in the wet. So we're going to get that right here. Okay, and you just take a brush and you go ahead and brush off these parts that might have had any contamination from black powder, just to loosen everything. Actually, the water has already done most of the work. It has dissolved the salts that will actually corrode the metal. Okay. Rinse it off and wipe it. Now we're going to dry this more thoroughly, and we're going to use some heat to do it. That's the only way you can get all the moisture out of these little tiny small parts, because you do not disassemble the lock unless you need to make some changes in the components, or I do when I have an absolutely new lock. Alright, we have other small parts in here. Like the flint, clean out screw, the jaw screw, and that's it. Similarly, either wipe down, and we're going to oil them up and dry them out. Okay. Take and run the threads here with my fingernail, and that cleans them out. Then take a small piece of patch cloth here, twist it up like this, and then you put that inside and turn it, and that gets the inside of that chamber clean. So that's the way you do that business. Now I have a brush here too, so this is, I say, it's only fired one shot, so that's really pretty clean. Plus we're going to oil it later. Now, this gets us down to the barrel. And we're going to take this bucket outside and we're going to swoosh it with water and use this long ramrod, and we'll move to that stage next. If you are working with an original gun, take your time. It can take days to get one of these things disassembled and properly cleaned. Now I have a website, www.hoviesmith.com, where you'll hear about my turkey hunting adventures like this one, and also be able to find out about my books, blogs, videos, and radio shows, Hovey's Outdoor Adventures.